We unpack. We unpack. We unpack. Coming to you live. Boxingego unpack. Yeah. We unpack. We unpack. We unpack. Coming to you live. Terence Crawford, he does it again. He says Jermell Charlo is jealous and mad. And he said something else that was pretty shocking. That's what I want to talk about in this video. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Now, this probably is not going anywhere till after December 10th. Reason being, Terence Crawford just keeps at it. Like, he keeps doing interviews, and the way he carries himself, the things he's saying, it just creates so many more questions for the viewer. And he did an interview, I would say his more recent interview with Brian Custer on the Last Stand podcast. And he just said some things that, to me, it seemed a bit odd, if you will. A bit odd indeed. So what did Terence Crawford say? Terence Crawford, in this interview, he said a lot. For one, I noticed that he was definitely talking more about Errol Spence Jr. and even Jermell Charlo than his actual upcoming opponent. And that's a shame because the fans are confused about your actual upcoming opponent. Who is he? David Avanesian. Why did you pick him? So if anything, we don't need to know more about Jermell Charlo or Errol Spence or these PBC fighters that have been branded well. And Jermell Charlo is an undisputed. Errol Spence is a 3-belt unified champion, 3 of the 4 belts. We need to know about David Avanesian. But in all these interviews I'm seeing, Terence Crawford speaks more about them and Al Heyman and why it didn't work as opposed to why it did work with BLK Prime and advocating that. I mean, I even seen Adrian Broner, and he recently signed to BLK Prime as well. And he said, and what he's posted and put it out is pretty much better promotion than we've seen from Bud Crawford. But what he said about Jermell Charlo kind of caught my ear. So in this interview, he said that Jermell Charlo is not at his level and is not at Errol Spence's level. So that's an old tactic right there, divide and conquer. The world of boxing knows that Errol Spence and Jermell Charlo are homies. They're boys, they're partners, they're friends, they're sparring mates, they're stable mates. They have the same trainer, Derek James. And that's a divide and conquer tactic. Say something quasi-positive about Errol Spence while knocking Jermell Charlo to try to create friction there. So I picked up on that. Beyond that, he says that Jermell Charlo is not at his level and Errol Spence's level. And he said that as a result, Jermell Charlo is jealous and mad. If you've ever seen Jermell Charlo's car collection, if you've ever seen Jermell Charlo or Jermell Charlo's house, if you've ever looked at Jermell Charlo's belt collection, what reason on earth would you have to believe that in the world of boxing, he's jealous of Terence Crawford, right? His brand is buzzing. His resume is killer. He has established himself as the man at 154 pounds with no questions asked, right? He either beat the guy or beat the guy that beat the guy, and he's the supreme ruler, and he's about to fight a much better fight than David Avanesian in Costa Zoo's son, Tim Tszyu, who has a good following where he's from in Australia, and some people are giving him a chance, not giving him a chance, whatever. It's still a great fight. He's an undefeated fighter, and this is mandatory, so it settles a mandatory. So nothing you can really say puts you in a better light than how the fans view Jermell Charlo's current career. He also avenged a draw, which some people thought could have went his way. Some people thought would have went the other way with Castano, but he proved that he's better than Castano in stopping Castano in the rematch. So I thought it was a ludicrous thing for Crawford to say that he was mad and jealous because he's not on the level, because it poses so many more questions. What level? You were undisputed. Jermell Charlo is undisputed, and he had a harder path to get to undisputed. So what reason would he have to be mad and jealous or whatever this situation is? Ironically enough, Jermell Charlo did an Instagram live, and he said that Crawford is jealous and he's trying to get the bag when he was playing pool on Instagram live. So to me, Crawford continues to shoot himself in the foot, and the stuff he's saying, it really sounds like projection. It sounds like the stuff that he says is how he feels. He's wondering why, and he's envious or jealous of a lot of these PBC fighters, namely Errol Spence and Jermell Charlo. Why are they being received so well with the fans and making money? And, you know, they have all these fans. And if you listen to Crawford's team, they kind of support this. They say like, oh, y'all just some Errol Spence groupies. Y'all just hating on Bud. Nobody's hating on Bud. People can have their own opinion. You see what I'm saying? It reminds me of the scene in the OG Batman by Tim Burton with Michael Keaton and Jack Nicholson and Kim Basinger. Vicky Vale, right? And Batman comes out the cuts and he got all these like gadgets and cars and the bat plane. And then the Joker, Jack Nicholson, says, "Where did he get those wonderful toys?" He was so shook that he couldn't even imagine or fathom, like, where did he get those toys? Like, how he got the rawest gadgets, like some James Bond stuff. How does he have like bat planes and seemingly a gadget or toy or vehicle out of every situation, you know? And the Joker was like tight about it. Where did he get those wonderful toys? Right? And that's what Crawford reminds me of in that scene. He reminds me of the Joker. Like, you're seeing these PBC fighters and you're wondering, where did they get this fanfare? Where did they get these sellout events? Where did they get that big house? And then you're blaming it on Jermell Charlo and saying he's mad and depressed or whatever he said, right? Furthermore, he also said that fighting Jermell Charlo is probably not feasible right now because Jermell's at 54 and Jermell got mandatories. But the funny thing is, Jermell Charlo is undisputed, as I mentioned, so he has every belt, including the WBO, and Terence Crawford knows the WBO rules because this is the only belt that he's had at the welterweight class, and the WBO has a rule in place where you basically have first dibs when you move up as a WBO super champion, and you move up and you have first dibs and a crack and mandatory access to the fight if you petition that way. Crawford knows this because that's exactly what happened to him when he was undisputed at 140 and he had the super WBO belt, and then his first fight at welterweight 147 after he moved up 7 pounds was Jeff Horn for the WBO title, even though I thought Jeff Horn really didn't beat Pacquiao. But nonetheless, that's how he got the opportunity at Jeff Horn instantly, no questions asked, and became Jeff Horn's mandatory. Another example of this would be Alexander Usyk, another guy who has been undisputed in boxing at cruiserweight, and he moved up and seemingly he was instantly Anthony Joshua's mandatory, Joshua being unified and having that WBO belt. So after Joshua beat Ruiz and reclaimed his titles, the pressure was on Joshua to fight Usyk, who was the undisputed at cruiserweight. He was the super champion, the WBO super champion, and he moved up and he had that mandatory slot, which he pressed, and he beat Joshua twice. The second was just because of rematch clause. So for Terence Crawford to say so much about Jermell Charlo and say he will whoop him easy and beat him and he's jealous and mad he's not on the level, and then act like he doesn't know the rules of boxing, you know, to me, that's not a good look. It's not a good look. You're saying that, oh, I can't fight him, he has mandatories. But if you couldn't get the Errol Spence fight done, why not fight Jermell Charlo, since you clearly have something to get off your chest with Jermell Charlo? And furthermore, you have that easy access to the WBO route, which is the route you took from 40 to 47, as I just mentioned. So for several reasons, you guys can see this is the type of energy and the things that Terence Crawford is saying. And I don't know if he has a PR person or if they're thinking ahead or they just wait for people like me to point out these inconsistencies or point these things out, and then they have to go back and try to repair it and make it make sense. But this is why Terence Crawford, he's really hurting his brand. To be honest, at this point, I think it would have been better for Crawford to just be like, yo, I'm fighting David Avanesian. The ERROL Spence fight didn't work. Screw y'all. I'm getting the bag. It's over. You know, deal with it. Watch it or don't watch it, which would basically be my attitude. If I was content in my decision making, right? And Terence Crawford also says he used to care about what fans say, but now he doesn't care about fans. But then there's fans on Twitter saying that they asked him why he wasn't fighting Errol Spence and he blocked them. Things like that. So you're claiming you don't care about what fans say, but then you're blocking people for, I guess, taunting you about not fighting Errol Spence Jr. You're saying you don't really care about what fans say, but every interview is not even advocating for your actual fight with David Avanesian. And it seems like an explanation, if you will, as to why you're not fighting Errol Spence. Like, why not just move on? Okay, if you're happy with your decision and you made all the right choices and you say you got a great team and you like the choice you made, your team is saying you left Errol Spence in the dust, okay, just rock with that. You know, and I think that would have been the better option. You know, tell us what we should order, spend $40 to order the David Avanesian fight for. And, you know, I really don't give David Avanesian much of a chance. And then to see that David Avanesian just took a flight yesterday, like he took a fight, he's fighting in 9 days on the 10th, and he's just now flying to America. And I'm the only one that seems to frequently be asking these questions. Anyone that has a profile my size or greater, no one else seems to be asking these questions. And I find that weird because all these things look weird and out of place and fishy. Why is David Avanesian, who lives in the UK, why is he just now coming to Omaha 9 days before the fight? Usually fighters get there, adjust to the time zone. I mean, that's like a significant time zone difference, 6 to 8 hours or whatever it is, right? And you want to just, you know, peep and like observe the law of the land and adjust to the time zones, adjust to the food. You know, you go to somewhere else and then you're needing to cut weight and they don't have food. Like, I know people, like, for example, this is just a little detour, but I know fighters who are like vegan or, you know, Muslim or whatever, and then they couldn't eat certain things in Russia because a lot of the food had meat. You know what I'm saying? So they didn't really have access where they were at to food that would satisfy their religious beliefs and or their vegan beliefs, you know what I mean, in their diet. So these things have to be mapped out. This man's getting to the fight and people already don't give him a chance to win. And then he's getting to the fight 8-9 days before the fight and having to adjust. So, you know, it's really an uphill battle, especially for a $40 pay-per-view. But that's my thoughts. Check in, tap in with me. Let me know what you guys think. But the whole Jermell Charlo situation, he said you were clout chasing, and it looks like that because you're bringing him up when you're fighting someone else. It really has nothing to do with him or ERROL or Al Heyman or PBC, but that seems to come up more often in the interviews. Drop your thoughts in the comment section. Best in the business, and I'm out. Introducing Super Thanks. Right here on the official Boxingego YouTube. Super Thanks allows you, the viewers, to show a little bit of extra gratitude, which enables me as a full-time content creator to push out the content you need in the world of boxing. Underneath all the videos, you will see a heart with the $sign in it. You can enter any amount that you find suitable as a Super Thanks. A brand new, interactive, and colorful way to get your comments highlighted and noticed by not only myself, but other people on the YouTube platform. Super Thanks, a unique and cool way to show and applaud us full-time content creators. Hopefully you guys enjoy the content. Super Thanks. The future is now. The Hibernation 5s by Kenichi Bear. Hybrid gaming and lifestyle headphones. Out of the box, you can connect to any console or PC. Bluetooth ready with a low latency USB adapter, color RGB, and extreme bass mode. The Hibernation 5s adjust to you. Whether you need a gaming, travel, gym, or lifestyle headphones, the Hibernations got you covered. The new Hibernation 5s, link in the description. Customize the way you hear the world. Welcome to the nation. Are you tired of your YouTube videos not getting any views? Well, consider TubeBuddy. I've used TubeBuddy for years to scale up my YouTube channel. Now we're sitting over 200,000 subscribers. TubeBuddy is a browser extension that offers a ton of built-in productivity and time-saving services to take your channel to the next level. Use my link in the description to get started with TubeBuddy and level up your channel faster. We working.